This is a pretty pessimistic conversation, but like I always do, I'm going to try to spin it in a positive and give you my strategies on how I'm trying to overcome this. I hope it helps you. Hey everyone, I'm Cole Caparoon. Thank you for stopping by for another video. The music industry is getting harder. There's no way around it. It's getting harder. It's been getting harder for every single generation since forever. Now, yes, there's a ton of positives, obviously. The affordability of recording gear that lets everyone make records, the use of social media to promote your career and the ability to have a career without ever working with a label ever. The fact that there are more artists now making a living in the music industry than ever before by an extreme margin. These are all good things. These are all positive moves in the ability for us to make a career out of music. But making a career as a producer and as a mix engineer is arguably harder. First of all, in every single career field that there is, as people retire or unfortunately pass on, it creates openings for new up-and-comers to come in and take those spots. But almost no one's retiring. Now, unfortunately, we have lost a handful of absolute legendary icons in the recording space. And I obviously don't wish any harm or ill will on any legends out there or any people that are above me in the music industry, but we've still got Bob Clearmountain mixing records, the original mix engineer, the one that started this for all of us. And something that I don't think anyone thinks about or talks about is how hard everyone below that needs to work in order to forge a career. Chris Lord-Alge has been really open about the fact that Bob Clearmountain was his hero. I guarantee you he had to work really hard to forge his own path next to Bob Clearmountain to gain that level of status. And I'm not necessarily listing these people out in a hierarchy, like this one's better than this one and this one's better than this one. It's just kind of who came when. And I would wager to bet that someone like Vance Powell, even though he's in a different genre, worked even harder than Chris Lord-Alge to forge his career. And I would venture to bet that I hustled and worked and sacrificed even harder to get where I'm at. Now, I'm not saying that I'm anywhere near them, but you're going to have to sacrifice and work even harder than I did. And that is why things are continuing to get more difficult. It's for a couple reasons. One, it's because none of these people are retiring. Bob's still making records. CLA's still making records. Vance Powell's still making records. I'm still making records. And so it is really hard to forge your way into a top spot when all the top people, like just about all of them, are still doing it at the top level. And then the second reason is because there are more of us doing this than there ever have been before. Not only are you having to compete to get the work over the people that are above you and further ahead than you, you're also having to compete with more people because just about everyone who's ever done it is still doing it, and new people are coming into the industry constantly. And it's for these two reasons that I say that it just keeps getting harder. But the first point that I want to get across is that every one of us are feeling this. I promise you I feel it. I promise you Vance Powell feels it. I promise you CLA feels it. Bob Clearmountain might not feel it. But that's the first thing that I want to get across, is that all of us are feeling this immense pressure from beneath us. And in order for any of us to keep our spot, we have to apply immense pressure upward. So I just want you to know that one, everyone relates. If you are struggling to get your feet under you, if you are struggling to forge a full career in the music industry, in the studio, we all feel you. Every single one of us feels it and can relate to it. Now, I do my very best to never look at anyone as competition. You are not my competition. And it's not a cocky thing. It's not like you can't compete with me. I'm in competition with myself. I'm in competition with myself sonically. Am I constantly beating the previous work that I used to do? I'm in constant competition with myself in a status way. Am I constantly pushing upward enough to always be working on bigger and more successful songs with bigger and more successful artists? And I'm in competition with myself to be able to do more and more work. Now, that last one kind of comes and goes in spurts throughout the years because I'm starting to get old enough and I've been doing this long enough, 22 years now, that it's getting harder for me to push as hard as I used to 15 years ago. I don't have the literal time available to sacrifice like I used to 15 years ago. So how do we get ahead? Even though it continues to be harder and there continues to be more and more people doing it, that even though I don't look at them as competition, in some way we are competing against each other. I want to really, really impress on you to not look at your peers as competition. I think it's a much better environment and a much better industry if we all try to help each other out, which is what I do here on this channel. It's what I'm doing right here in this video. I'm going to explain to you the ways that I approach this that help me get ahead, that have helped me get where I am, so that way you can turn it up 20% harder than I did and hopefully get there. That's the first thing. You got to work harder. And that doesn't necessarily mean more hours. It doesn't necessarily mean less sleep or anything like that. It literally just means you have to work harder. Because there's more people doing it, because there's more people fighting for the spot, because all of us that have been doing it for decades are still doing it, you have to outwork people. When I first moved here to Nashville, I think that's one of the things that let me get ahead quickly, was outworking most other people. When the entire music industry was shutting down for the month of December like it does, I was grinding. I pushed even harder in the month of December because everyone else was taking time off. When it comes to the financial side of things, I was investing 100% of the leftover money back into the gear and into the studio and into my career. 100% of it. I didn't take vacations. I didn't have hobbies. I didn't do anything besides music. I didn't ride motorcycles like I do now. Like, while most other people around me were only putting 70% of their income back into their career, I was putting 100% of it back in my career. When it came to networking and meeting new people and acquiring new clients, I was having coffee with someone that I had never met 4 days a week, and sometimes 2 coffees a day. There just weren't other people doing that at that level. Not that I knew of, not anyone that I knew. Out of meeting with thousands of people, I didn't meet anyone who was pushing it that hard. Not ever once, not even close. I had a set amount of time per day set aside that I spent on social media, Facebook and Instagram. And it was just to interact with people, and it was just to seek out people who I might want to work with. And it was just to follow and comment on their content and see if they would be interested in having a coffee with me. Another thing that I think is super, super important, and I see a lot of people not do this, share your work on your socials. Whether it's TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, whatever your thing is, post about the work that you're doing. When you've got a guitar session, post about it. When you've got a vocal session, post about it. When a song that you worked on comes out, post about it. For those of you that follow me on Instagram, I primarily focus on Instagram, kind of Facebook too, but mostly Instagram. I post reels when I'm done with a song and the song comes out. I don't do this usually until the song comes out. I post reels of my mix and of the room with the song playing back. It literally takes 0 time. It's 0 extra effort. It takes an actual 45 seconds to do that. And some of those reels get hundreds of thousands of views. And I see people here in town, especially, I see people that act or talk like they're real busy, but they never post any music that they've ever worked on. I have no idea what they actually do. So make sure you share what you're doing. And I know to some of you, it probably feels cringy. Like, oh, I don't want to do that. That's so gross. Always promoting myself. I promise you, everything that you want is on the other side of cringe. It just is. Same with this YouTube channel. You know, creating content, it's easy to feel cringy when you're, oh, hold on, client, I've got to take a photo. Hold on, we want to make sure that we get a video so we can post a reel later. I totally get that it can feel weird and sleazy and cringy. Everything that you want to accomplish is on the other side of cringe. Just do it. Who cares what anyone thinks? Just do it. Another thing that really helped me level up my productions was just being here and being around these people. Like, I've told this story before, but within the first couple months of moving here to Nashville, I got to sit in a studio and watch Vance Powell mix a song. It changed everything for me. Like, literally everything. My entire psychological approach to mixing changed in a single moment watching him mix. Surrounding yourself with people who are doing it, trying to be in the room with people who are above you or doing the things that you'd like to do, super, super important. And I wouldn't have been able to do that back in Illinois, where I'm from. I had to move to Music City. I had to move somewhere that I could immerse myself in an industry with people, with many, 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 many people above me doing it. Because back in Illinois, where I was from, in Peoria, Illinois, I'm not saying this to be cocky, there was no one above me. I had the biggest studio between Chicago and St. Louis. There was only one other studio in a 100-mile radius. I'm not talking smack, but they weren't above me. They weren't doing greater things than I was doing. And so it was really difficult to like see the path or see what was possible, or even just have the level of inspiration required to get there when I was kind of already the big fish in the tiny, tiny little pond. So moving, huge deal. Moving to a music city, to a area that has tons of music and a good recording industry, hugely important to me. Now, if I had to go back and do it, I would probably make sure that I set a little bit harder limits on when I turned the computer off, on when I shut the studio down. I was probably just a little bit too flexible and worked a little bit too hard and sacrificed time with my family, with my wife, just a little bit too much. In hindsight, I could have been better about that and still accomplished everything that I was doing. Another thing is efficiency of minutes in the day. I still preach this and I still practice this. I'm still trying to get better at this. 0 wasted minutes in the day. Reevaluating your setup, reevaluating what you do in a daily basis is really, really important, because the more efficient you are, the more work you can get done in a set amount of time. So figure out, what are the things that are keeping you from work the most? Is it doom scrolling on TikTok? Delete it from your phone. Is it always having to get back behind your gear and hook up microphones, and then you're plugging in this compressor and then then get a patch bay? Is it always having to hook up guitar amplifiers or keyboards to get ready to record? Well, figure out how to have that set up all the time. Start at whatever is the thing that makes you waste the most amount of time in your day and fix it. And then go on to the next thing and the next thing and the next thing. And the more you do this, the more efficient everything becomes, the more you have less wasted minutes in the day, the easier it is to work harder than those around you, be more productive than those around you, and to get further ahead without actually killing yourself. This video is probably long enough. I've probably talked about all of these things on the channel before, but not ever in one condensed video like this, and also not ever under this premise. Like, I've never talked about this, that I do believe the industry is getting more and more difficult. Every single generation thinks that they have it harder than the ones before them. And unfortunately, every generation thinks that the ones after them have it so much easier. I don't really think that. I don't think you up-and-comers have it easier. I genuinely believe you have it more difficult. But that just means you have to be more efficient, more dedicated, and be willing to sacrifice this. This is not an easy career. This is not a career that you just kind of waltz into. This is a career that kind of demands constant sacrifice. But if your heart's in it, if it's what resonates with you, if it's what you were meant to do with your life, it's well worth it. There are links in the description down below for every piece of gear that I use, all the things that make my efficiency easier, my patch bays, different microphone preamps, guitars, guitar amps, everything that I use is in a link down below. Anytime you guys need any piece of gear whatsoever, you can jump on any one of my videos, click on any link in the description of any video. Once you're on the site, you can purchase anything that you need. It costs you absolutely nothing extra, but it goes a long ways to help me keep making content like this. Those links go to Sweetwater. So huge thank you to Sweetwater for sponsoring this video, and a massive thanks to you guys for using those links anytime you need to purchase anything. I hope you have a wonderful day. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.